guys, Ralph here, and welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness on this fabulous Friday. Fabulous Friday, man. I feel awesome. It's first thing in the morning, man. It's barely 7 o'clock, and I am ready to go. I got a very, very busy day. All morning I got things to do. I got students all afternoon. I got to work a bike ride in there somewhere. We'll see what happens. I got my bike stuff on, and yeah, we're going to get this done. Now, you saw the thumbnail. Nick Drozdoff, comeback kid. Really, really cool success story, and I want to let you know about it. Anyway, haven't played a note. Let's see what we got. Feels compressed. Responds beautifully. Guys, why do you think I'm smiling all the time? 7 o'clock in the morning, hellacious, effortless double C's, caress the baby, hiding. 7 o'clock in the morning? Really? Anyway, enough about me. Comeback kid. This is quite a story, man, and I couldn't be happier for Nick. Now, here's the deal. I'm sure a lot of you know the name, even if you don't know specifically what he's all about. Okay? But Nick Drozdoff. Now, he has quite a good YouTube channel and a podcast and all that sort of stuff. He's quite a good arranger and good with the techno and all that sort of stuff. So you might want to check out his YouTube channel. You know what? He was saying with his new chops, he was going to go back and redo a lot of those tracks. Maybe give him a little while. But anyway, you can get an idea of where he was and where he's, that type of thing. But excellent player. Spent some time with Maynard. Right? Enough said. You're driving with the Rolls Royce, man. You're hanging with the king. Right? If I have a regret in my career, and I really don't, I would have loved to just do 5 minutes with Maynard. He comes into New York, somebody gets sick, he needs a sub, I'll play fourth trumpet. I just would love to have had that experience. Anyway, with that said, did a stint with Maynard, settled around Chicago into the freelance scene, everything from the symphony to, jazz and lead and commercial and the whole 9 yards. The real deal. He's also a very, very bright guy. And this came into all the teaching of him anyway. Very, very bright guy. He is actually a physics professor. His wife is a professor of law. And his daughter goes to Yale right up the street. So needless to say, there's some gray matter going on big time in that family, right? Well, anyway, push came to shove, blah, 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 blah. All right? He had some physical problems. And I'm not going to get into the physical problems. We're talking about his chops. I know of his physical problems, and it was some serious stuff. It was serious stuff. And at some point, if he wants to talk about that, he may. Other than that, it's literally none of my business. The only reason why he told me is he wanted to know where we were starting from. Okay? So, yeah, he came to me, and I'm not going to say he could barely play a note, because he could play a note. But as far as the true power way, He couldn't play a good note, true power-wise. All right? Now, he wrote me an email of all his travails and everything and what he's done and all this sort of stuff. And one of the things that struck me was interesting is that he knew all the while he was playing at his peak that it wasn't right, that he was working too hard. And he had just stumbled across my channel, and I'm talking about double C's effortless, and, you know, it struck a chord with him. Okay? And with his physical problems, now that's another thing, it wasn't just his chops. He had some other physical problems, and he liked the fact that I was encapsulating the whole thing, the whole body, mind, body, spirit type of thing. Okay, so it did resonate with him. Okay, so he comes to me, and he pretty much challenged me. And one of my videos, months, years ago, doesn't matter, I said, double C's, guarantee. He said, all right, bud, you're going to guarantee? I'm holding you to it. And let me say this before we go on. Teaching pros is not always a day at the beach. It's not. I love it. I love the challenge. But when you have a guy that has had a level of excellence, right? A level of excellence, doing it a certain way, it's very hard to tell them it's not right. To my way of thinking, it's not right. But if I'm going to do my job that they're paying me for, they're paying me to tell them, not necessarily tell them what they want to hear. Okay? And that can get a little sticky with pros. Now, it did not with Nick, and I'll tell you why. It happened during COVID, so he had no gigs staring him in his face. And the fact that he was so frustrated, his chops were so down, it was like, okay, bud, let's do this. I'm in. And that's the cool thing, man. He jumped in the deep end. It's no sticking his toe in and say, ooh, that doesn't work, it's cold. No, he jumped in and just let it rip. Let it rip. And it wasn't easy, man. This guy's focus and his dogged determination, man, it was like a pit bull after oh, man. And I loved teaching him. Okay? Now, the thing that I had to keep an eye on is he was very frustrated with it. He's used to playing Maynard Ferguson solo, and I'm talking about the happy zone. Right? So, along with all his other physical travails, it was frustrating. But all the while, again, the gray matter was telling him, we're on the right track here, and we have to get this right. So, I don't even remember, and he doesn't either. He says the spring, let's say April. So April to the end of September, let's say this took place in 5 months. And we started, give me a C scale. Right from the beginning, something I do with an absolute beginner. Okay, now, you read my book. Relax the corners. Compression, don't overblow. Okay? He was not overblowing, but his corners were tight and the tongue was not in the right place. Even though he had seen my stuff and was sort of fooling around with it and everything, it wasn't in the right place. So we started right from scratch. And sure enough, immediately he could hear the tone. That's the thing, guys, the tone will tell you. And I can't begin to tell you how important that is. The tone has to be right. Has to be right. So he didn't come every week. We didn't do Skype every week. He did, I'm going to say, Nick, I'm not even sure, 5 lessons, 7 lessons, I don't even know. But all along the way, he's taken me up on it. Remember, I guaranteed. And I get loads of emails. This is going. I get loads of those little snippets. What do you think of this? And I'd call him back and say, okay, that sounds fine, but play some articulation for me and all this sort of stuff. Okay? And each time, yeah, it's sounding better. It's sounding better. Now, the second lesson, I think, was 2 weeks after the first. And he was really kind of enthused. And I hated to tell him, yes, it was better, but it wasn't right. And once again, lay off above C. Happy zone. For him, it was a low C to a high C. And the low G wasn't great either, which happens with tension and everything. And I know he wasn't mad at me. I know he wasn't mad at me. And he may not even remember this one incident. But it was frustrating. He thought it was, and it wasn't quite right. And again, my job as a teacher is to let you know what I feel. I'm not going to do a Carmine whatever and just tell you what you want to hear. Make you feel good about yourself. Why make you feel good? Because it's important that you see progress. And every single student I've ever had has made progress. The first lesson, the tone. And from there, it clicked in. It clicked in. Just recently, he started doing gigs again. Okay? Little hesitant to take the lead all by himself, so he's handpicking his jobs. So as long as, there was another good lead player on the job and all this sort of stuff. And everybody that played with him loved his sound, loved his power. You're back, baby, you're back. Now, he doesn't feel like he's completely back because he's one of us. He's a perfectionist. It always gets better. And as he said in his original email, he wanted to surpass what he was doing. It wasn't just get back to where he was, because as I said, he knew getting back was straining. And that was one of the hooks that he loved, as I said, no strain. And he's a good enough musician. He's got the ears that he knew. Now, I'm going to say, what was it, Nick, 10 days ago? 2 weeks ago? I'm not even sure. He sent me a video, and he did 3 notes. Low C, locked right in. G above high C to the double C. Bum, bum, bum. Centered, pure, as simple as that, no strain. No, histrionics between the low C. Bum. None of that. Bum, bum, bum. He's got it. As long as he's keep popping and he's flirting with F's above double C. And he said, they're not right yet, but I know that I can literally get the F's above double C. He's going back and starting to work on the classical stuff, which he definitely put aside for quite a while. Guys, he's back. It's a comeback story, the comeback kid. And I'll tell you what, nobody, well, maybe Doc, has worked harder at it. I'm telling you, he was a pit bull after the soup bone. He just wanted it, and he wouldn't let me. No. And I say that in a good way, Nick. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy. I know we're going to be friends via Skype forever. And if you're ever in the area, picking up your daughter at Yale, you're always welcome here. And blah 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 blah. And I would love to meet him in person. That's the thing about this Skype, guys. I'm new at this, and do we know each other? I feel like I have thousands of friends out there that I've never met. But anyway, that's a different thing. Guys, get a 1SB. Let me help you. Whatever depths of despair that you are, I'm telling you, even though it was not ground one, you could not possibly be more frustrated with your playing than Nick was. And he's got it. He's got it. Bum, bum, bum. Got it. Congratulations, Nick. Congratulations. Nobody's happier for it. Well, I bet you are. I bet your wife is too. But another thing, he runs, he does kettlebell, he eats right, he's lost 40 pounds. Guys, True Power Trumpet Fitness is the whole thing. It works. All right? Eat and drink your fruits and vegetables. Love you all.